just think people are thinking maybe 10 years ago. And I think the quality of programs and the oversight of programs have really, really improved.
That may well be true. I mean, I'd be the last person to suggest that someone who's dedicated as much time and energy as you have, that's good to hear. But I still think in that context, you know, if we're having, I've read the RFP specs will provide service to 10 people in this category. I don't know if that's, you know, the most efficient use. That's all I'm saying. Is you know, and I would, you know, I begin to recoil when I hear of strategic planning and all that stuff. That sounds like a lot of talk to me. You know, it's like when I was a kid, there's the thing you say, I was hungry and you formed a study group. You know, I've been to too many funerals. Dave Manson, who works for me, is a coach, been coaching for 25 years. He has been to more funerals for young people than people like me have been in a lifetime. So I want a little bit more urgency of need, and so maybe what it is just to sit down and say, okay, here's what appears we need to do. How would we get there? But I'm not real big on, you know, I think we've done enough collaborative planning. I think we've got all that stuff. Let's kick this thing off. And if we're wrong, could we do any worse than we've done right now? And I don't know if the council has any idea. I mean, I don't honestly listen to the council and make my judgments based upon that. So, but I would listen to you, Edward.
My question is about students without papers. And how do you get them paid? How do you get them jobs? That kind of stuff.
Well, you know, it's kind of hard for me to say how long I've been hanging around with Abasi, but you know, you're the best answer to that question. What are the hurdles right now? And you know what Meg Whitman's trying to figure out this morning, whether or not she did anything wrong. And you know, I would like to know. You know, there are certain things that you can get away with doing simply by doing it, and then calculating what the return and the negatives are. And I don't want to say I'm advocating violating federal law or anything like that, but we have to decide how there's the spirit and there's the intent. And I'm not parsing two words here, but that's a big problem, and we ought to be figuring out how do you think we could solve it. And I know we're not going to solve it in Washington and maybe even in Sacramento. So what could we honestly do to be able to get closer to where we solve your problems? And I'd begin by asking you, not now, unless you want to, how do we help you do that? How do we take care of those unpapered kids? The other thing is, I'm very big on paying people immediately. You know, a lot of people will come back tomorrow if they get paid today. You know, and I'm very, you know, we've been trying to deal with this reentry problem, which is vexing. But I've told people we got to have a revenue stream for these people coming back to. They've been in the most restricted, constricted environment known to man, where all the negative tendencies in human nature are accented. And now we send them back into the community and say, good luck. We don't even say good luck. We just send them back. So if we're going to go and get them productive, we've got to give them some compensation and some satisfaction to what we're doing, to saying is better, is in fact better. And there's no reason. They're doing it in other cities and other states. We could do that kind of stuff here. And so, I mean, I'm very intrigued by that. But you know what? There is a huge cement necklace in Oakland, and it's running right down here, 580. And there's a big difference between what you are doing below 580, those of you that are, and that's not to say that there are not needs up here above 580, but there's a real difference in a disconnect between what goes on in the hills, Hiller Highlands, Piedmont Pines, those places, and what's going on where Abasi's located or where Youth Uprising's located, McClymonds High School. Part of what the job of the mayor is to articulate that we are a single community. We have glorious differences in our neighborhoods. They're wonderful. But there is one community. And as the community health goes, so goes that community. So, you got to go up to the hills and explain to the residents up there why we need more resource attention below 580. And this has been going on a long, long time. And we've been talking about it a long, long time. And that's something that needs to be done. Yes, sir. Well, there's in New York, there's a reentry program that pays kids. I forget the name, Dave. Yeah, CEO. Just take it and knock it off. Just replicate it. But the emphasis are on, it reflects people know certain things. I go into classrooms, high school classrooms now. It's much different than when I was teaching. But there are certain commonalities about young people. We all have those traits. So what you want to do is the people that work with them, let's take the most obvious things that need to get done and let's do them. And one of them is we live in a society of instant reward. Well, we're not going to turn that around by saying, make people monks. So we have to build on things that we know work. There are models out there. You have models here. We're sitting in the middle one. And what we want to do is how do we emphasize that more? Ebasi's another one. There are a lot of them around. We got some really good programs and services in Oakland we ought to be proud of, and in the county.
With regards to your comments on funding quality programs, I'm very sympathetic to Edward's comments about the improvement of programs over the last decade. It's very clear that there's been an improvement in quality. There's still a lack of desire to really fund technical assistance to support the lower performing programs.
Technical, yeah. Well, there's my favorite saw is that we have 500 employees in economic and community development, and I think some of those probably could be de-emphasized in favor of doing things like this, the technical support. I've been around nonprofits enough to know that if we could help them with certain things that they are spending a lot of money on that could be done a lot cheaper technologically, with support. So I don't know exactly what it is I'm talking about, but you sound like you do. So, yeah.